Good afternoon. I'm just doing one now about the Eucharistic Congress in this country in 1932. We were only 9 years after our independence, 1923, and then there was a civil war, unfortunately. Um, the government, then Fianna Fáil, became the new government in 1932, and it coincided with the Eucharistic Congress that come to this country, which was a kind of an international affair, and it was a great honour and pride for the country. And at that time, people didn't have phones in their houses because it was only business people and perhaps doctors and solicitors and perhaps the local parish priest. And the Gardaí, I suppose, would have a phone, but most people didn't have phones. You had to wait for a few years to get a phone. So suffice to say that so there was phone boxes that you could make a phone that you could make a phone call, and there was two buttons. Button A when you put in your money, and you had to go usually through an operator, or and then button B when you could press it and get money back if you didn't spend all the money on the phone call. But so it was phone boxes, and the first one I think was erected in Dawson Street in 1925, just after our independence, and was erected in Dawson Street, very near where the government of the day was, so that they could make a phone call to members of the parliament because they mightn't even have phones, but they would have a good chance of getting one. But that's where it was. And then for the Eucharistic Congress, they really put the boat out, and they had plenty of phones around Dublin so that people could contact their relatives and friends because we had visitors from all over the world where there was Catholics, Mexico, Poland, and South American countries and countries. Lithuania, I think, must have been a Catholic country. Somebody from there. So there was many ones from all over the world, and they were all catered for. And the Eucharistic Congress lasted for 4 days, and Mass was celebrated in Phoenix Park, where over a million attended, and the nuncio to this country at the time was a cardinal, and very humorous type of cardinal, and he was, he contributed great, and he was very good at the thing. And the famous tenor John McCormack sung Panis Angelicus at this international Congress, this great gift. And the Holy Father, Pope Pius XI, sent messages, and that was read out. And the papal legate, the cardinal, and very able, and so the mass was celebrated, and everything was arranged. The people weren't just a crowd all around; they had their own places depending on where they were from, and the same way as happened for Pope John Paul II in 1979 when he visited Ireland after having been in Poland. So we were next on the list because we had trouble in the country. So, but we're talking about that 1932, and so everybody got accommodation. They even made various places available, like in convents and in various institutions, so that, and then the hotels were ordered to not overcharge. They had rules and regulations that time. They couldn't charge what they like. And so the people were accommodated from all over the country, from with different languages, you know yourself. But they came here, and which is more power to their elbow. There was a big crowd, and it was a great source of pride for the country that they were treated with this great honour, and Eamon Del Valera was the new Taoiseach stroke Prime Minister. And people that gave them joy, and people even living at that time there were still tenements, because I remember them even in my young days when I lived in Howth, and my father being a guard, he used to, well, he wasn't dressed, he was dressed in civil, and he used to bring us in to Dublin to treat us to a meal in Beauties of Westmoreland Street, which was a good restaurant. And I had an aunt working there, and my Aunt Bunny, and we used to get a nice table and these lovely cakes, and myself and my brother, or the merchant down, we used to tip down to the toilets, because it was the only place in the country that you could wash your hands, and there was put your hand into something and there was a dryer. No other place you could get it, so we used to go down there and wash our hands. And sometimes I think we probably went into that age, we wouldn't know where we were going, but we wanted to get a hold of this thing. And then we come up and tucked into these nice cakes. I digress. I don't know why I come out with that, but we're talking about the Eucharistic Congress. Great. And so it put us on the road to, we were very proud of our association with the Vatican. I think it was the first country that recognised our independence. So it was a great affair. And unfortunately, from the point of view of the British, whether they were jealous or what, but there was an economic war. That's what they call it, but blockade would be more like it. And our goods were not allowed into Britain. And even when they were used to make out that there was foot and mouth, because cattle, unfortunately, I know they were going live. They weren't the way it is now for many years. That doesn't happen. But they used to talk about foot and mouth disease, which was nothing to do with it, but they were always interfering with it, and we were dependent on them in some ways. We hadn't expanded, and now we're very successful economically, thank God, and we're exporting to the EU, countries all over the world. Britain is still an important market, but with Brexit now, they're less important, and we send our goods into other countries in Europe and throughout the world. Agricultural products, and then other industrial products that we manufacture here. And of course, then the computer companies are here, and they use it as a base for sending stuff worldwide as well. So we're very well situated. We've come a long way from 1932, but it was a great source of pride for everyone. Even in Garden Street, where their tenants were, they decorated it, had flags and all the rest of it. Everybody put themselves out, and there was phone boxes everywhere. They were able to get organised for this event and put out all the stops. And I don't remember any negative reports. And people visited all around the country and got a great reception everywhere he went. This was nearly the island of saints and scholars. 98.5% of the people practiced their Catholic faith. Churches was packed, confessions was packed. So 1932, now a lot of us weren't there, but it's documented on the internet and all the rest of it. But I'm just talking about it now to sort of give people that mightn't be aware of this, our Irish brothers and sisters that are in the United States and throughout the world that might follow us, because we have followers in different parts of the world. And I'd say of Irish descent. And they like to hear that kind of thing, and they mightn't have heard it, but their grandparents might have been alive at that time. Like my grandparents were certainly around there. And my great grandparents, yeah, they would have been in there, because there was trains. We had trains from the 1858 or something. Trains started coming. There was even a train from Howth into Dublin, and there was a train from Greystones into Harker Street. You could go from Greystones. There was an express, and you could get in 20 minutes. You can't do that now, because there's no train going to. They closed that track and built houses. So there's no right to do that. These would have eased the traffic on the roads. Dublin, you can't go anywhere because they've interfered with cars and courtesy of the Green Party. Let's hope they head for the hills when there's an election, which is in 2025. I can't see anybody voting for them unless they sort of suffer from the environmental disease, thinking that they can control the environment. Stop the old plastic milking from the supermarket. That would help. So bye now, and I'll be doing something. I'll be doing now tomorrow, probably, or maybe later this evening, about 1979 and Pope John Paul II. Bye now.